Well, it's quite a bit further along in the process, but I guess it's time for another update video on the Corvette. Wiring is done. Done-ish. Done enough. Done with the factory wiring. That is it. That is all. Just the factory stuff. So, this is the giant pile. This is all of the wires for a 1971 Corvette with factory air conditioning. That is the interior harness. This is the interior harness. Then two of these harnesses are, two of these main trunks are for the engine bay. One is ignition and engine, and the other one is like lights, and that's that. The other one goes, it's this one actually. That's these two. This one is the other main harness that goes through the firewall. This side is this is the interior tape. That's a little fuzzier and not heat resistant. And this is the engine bay tape that is heat resistant. And so this goes through the firewall. This is this one is the air conditioning and HVAC harness. It's the smallest harness. That is that piece. Then this is the main interior dash harness. So this is everything except for HVAC. So all of the dash lights, all of the ignition system on the inside, that's all of that. And the fuse block is connected to that. This is also the firewall plug with the fuse block on the back. This is like kind of, it sits like behind the clutch pedal kind of, but a little bit above it. Then the last, like I said, these are the last two harnesses. These have the high heat tape for the engine bay. Stuff's really expensive. You cannot rip it. It's also like, yeah, abrasion resistant stuff. Anyway, there's two of these harnesses. This is the main harness, ignition harness, I guess you'd call it, I think. No, sorry, this is the lighting harness. That's all the lighting. And then the very last one is what I just finished tonight. That's the ignition harness. So that's the one firewall plug. The other firewall plug is here, and that guy plugs with that one, and they go in the back of the fuse block. So that's how all of the harnesses go together. As far as the rest of the interior, I keep buying parts because stuff keeps breaking. I knew this was broken, and I broke down and I bought a new one that's sitting over in the corner. This is the doors and tray for this area. So I did get a new one of those. I have new carpet and everything. So we got Dynamat. It's not Dynamat, it's whatever. And this is a fancier carpet underlayment replacement. It's a two-layer foam with an adhesive back. It's just supposed to be nicer and have more acoustic absorption than regular carpet underlayment. I didn't realize the carpet that I bought came with underlayment. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have bought this stuff. I was like, oh, I'll get the nicer stuff because I have the chance to. And then it was like, oh yeah, the carpet. It was dumb because on the website you could order it separately from the carpet. I was like, I thought it was usually attached to the carpet. I guess not. I guess I have to buy it, so I'll just buy the fancier stuff and cut it and put it in because I'm doing it anyway. Why would I pay lots and lots of money to have like factory style carpet underlayment that sucks? Turns out I was going to get it anyway, and so I bought it twice, which is fun, and I get to throw the cheap stuff away. Can't say a whole lot for how well the foam sticks to it. This has just been sitting here. It kind of starts peeling away. It's really not made to be out in the elements, and it gets hot in here during the day. It's summertime right now, summer of 23. So yeah, it's not great, but it's made to be underneath carpet. It's not really going to move anywhere once the carpet is kind of keeping it in place. So we really did do a lot of the firewall in the heat wrap, Dynamat stuff. I have two different kinds. The one was just a straight black and one was the Rockville. If you ever think about doing Dynamat, do not buy the Rockville stuff. Buy the plain black stuff that I used up here. That is Hush Mat, and that works great. It's way stickier. It's a little bit thinner, but I mean, you're going to get 98.5% of the performance of it, and the Rockville stuff sucks. It doesn't stick to anything. You have to have it perfectly clean for that stuff to stick. Hush Mat. That's the stuff that works. So this is all ready for new stuff to go in. I'm going to start putting the harnesses together. Really, I can start putting the harnesses back into the engine bay. That's probably the easiest thing to do first. So that'll be, yeah, all the engine wiring is pretty much gone. I got to start putting that back in so that I can start testing. Rebuilding the HVAC box that kind of sits in the passenger footwell, that's going to be the next task so that I can get it at least hooked up and set into place. Not installed. I'm going to hook everything up, hook all the wiring harnesses back up, get all my bulbs working and everything, and test all of the electronics before I really start to button stuff up, which will take some extra time, but I'm willing to do that to make sure that I do it right. I did buy a lot of extra electronics to put in this thing. I'm going to be adding my own harnesses that I'm going to make from scratch. They're not going to be that complicated, but I do have a big fuse block with a bunch of relays in it. One of the relays, I bought a PWM controller, speed controller for my fan, electric radiator fan that will vary the speed based on the coolant temperature so that it keeps it doesn't just run 100% all the time. That's really, really annoying. Or that it doesn't just wah as soon as it's hot. Yeah, so that will be much nicer. It probably only has to run 40% unless it's really hot out and I'm just idling around. So that'll be nicer, but I got to have a relay to run that. There was like a real jerry-rigged relay that was in there. So I got a real nice controller for that. Got to have a relay to power that. I'm going to have a relay to run my fuel-injected system, which is not going to go in this time around. That'll probably be, hopefully, maybe I'll get that done this winter, but that won't be a priority right away. The other relay I need is, crap, what was the other thing? Oh, I need to do a relay and a fuse for my electronic headlights. I had some, but they were like inline fuses and they were super ugly. The harnesses were bad. It was real jank. So that's got to be rewired. Plus, the other thing that I have a relay for that was just like zip tied onto the harness before was I had this relay that was taking the resistor wire. I think it's the resistor wire. It used to run to the coil. Now I have an HEI, so I don't need the resistor wire. So that isn't still enough to run a relay. Need to run a switched relay to ignition power to be able to power my HEI coil that's built into the distributor. So I have to have a relay for that as well. So I got a fuse block to make all of that stuff. So that is kind of going to be its own harness, sort of. I have a firewall plug. I'm not totally sure if I'm going to need the firewall plug. It's like an 8-pin or something like that, but that I don't think I'm going to have much custom wiring. I have to have some wires come in from, I got to have a toggle switch for the headlights. They were just kind of tied up by my feet before, the headlight switch, to run them up and down because they're electronic now. Not sure where I'm going to put that. Hadn't really decided yet. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put a cover over the ashtray, and my switches are going to go there. So the switches that I'm adding is headlights up and down. The other switch will be cutouts, which I don't have a switch for at this point, but there will be one there. And then another third button that is just like, I want to add something just called a dark mode for... I called it dark mode for my dash. Cameron Saab had one where they said they took it from the jets. It was a button you would push and all the dash lights would go away except for the speedometer up to like 80 miles an hour, and it was for night cruising, so that you didn't have anything else distracting you. It was just everything was dark out except for just enough to see how fast you were going, because that's all you needed. You could just listen to the car and everything else, and I really love that feature. So I'm not going to make something, the button doesn't turn all the other dash lights off. I'm just going to add my own lights to the back of the speedometer with a button that I can just push the button and hold it, and it'll change the dimming setting on that. That's a really simple system. I can tie that to ignition power anywhere, and that'll just kind of run on its own. So that's not going to be hard to add. That's the only like weird thing that I'm doing to the dash, and again, that button is going to be where the ashtray was, eliminating the 12 volt power socket thing. That's going to be, I have another one, it's going to be back in the trunk. I guess it's more of an informational video now because this is my plans, all the stuff that I have figured out since I tore into this thing. The other thing that really needs to happen before, as everything's going together, is wiring for the speakers. I got to make some mounts for the 4x10 speakers that go in the kick panels. I did just learn this. I bought 4x10 speakers that go in there because everybody said that's what this thing uses. But I found out that GM only did that in 68 and 69, and they gave up on all of the C3s after that because it was too annoying to fit in there. And I bought them anyway, not knowing this, and so now I have to fit them in with bigger magnets than they had when they were factory speakers. So that's not going to be fun, but I will do it anyway because I care about sound. That's how the sound system's set up. I also did a dash pad, rewrapped the dash pad in kind of like an Alcantara-y thing, vinyl, I don't know, vinyl backed probably, but it's a felt top. Added some extra planar tweeters into the top because I'm a nerd, and I was like, ooh, planar tweeters, that would be cool. I bought nice Memphis 4x6s for the dash. That was the only 2 speakers that were normally in this car, but now it's going to have those 6. Plus there's a kicker sub that I have just in a regular old truck box that fits underneath the soft top so that I can close the soft top still and have my speaker as well. It's not going to be in the way. I wanted to build a box for that would fit in the jack hole, but I don't feel like doing that. That's the short answer for that. And if I really care about building a fiberglass box for in here or a wooden box, probably could build a wooden box. It's big enough. It's like, I don't know, I could get like a what did I say, 11 by 12 by 10 inch deep box. So I could fit the sub that I bought. I could take it out of the kicker box and make my own box and put it in there if I really care. But it doesn't take up that much room. And this thing doesn't have lots of storage anyway, so you're really losing much if you lose the 2% of storage that you still had. So it is what it is. We're going to deal with it. But should sound good. Should rattle a lot less with all this stuff. The driver's door still doesn't have Dynamat in it, and I don't think I'm going to put any in. I'm not sure how much of the interior I'm going to get sprayed. I have interior dye, recoloring dye, that you spray out of a spray gun. It's like paint, but it's interior dye. I don't know. I'm not going to do the seats because that would be annoying, and I don't want it to get on. This is going to be used for Kobe and Kirsten's wedding. That's this October. Right now is the end of August, so I don't have a lot of time based on the state of this. So the seats will not have that, so they don't stain anything. Just in case. I don't know what it's going to be like. It's super easy to do the seats later, but all the dash stuff and the door panels, I might not even do the door panels just because it's so much work, and it's easy. It's a lot of work to do them, and it's easy to redo it later because they're easy to take off. So I'm not sure what stage I'll do for the recoloring of the interior, but it's getting black carpet, and all the difficult things are going to be black this time that I go together so that I can easily change the stuff that's easy to change later. Pretty much drivetrain is going to stay the same. This is just trying to get it back up and running again. Anything else that I wanted to change on this won't be that hard to change later. I'll have the stereo system in that I wanted. I'll have the couple of electronics in that I wanted. The throttle body injection won't be in, like I said, won't be in this go around, but I have all this 98% of the stuff. I have the surge tank plus the electric pump that is going to be fed by the mechanical pump that's factory on the engine. That will all take some wiring, which I'll be adding to the harness that I will start on, during this project. But that won't be that much. It'll be 1 or 2 relays. I can probably reuse one of the relays. On replacing the horn relay and adding like a power stud on the side, because the horn relay was a power distribution bar for unswitched battery power, which was dumb, but that's the way that it was. So I'm changing that out for an automotive 1-inch cube relay and a battery stud, a non-double-sided, non-through hole, battery stud, so that all of my power will come off of one spot. That'll be next to the horn relay, which is just going to be, again, a little cube relay. Let's see, what was this big thing over here? Yeah, this is the horn relay, factory horn relay. And this is like a bus bar that a whole bunch of power electronics, big power, like the alternator connected to this. I believe the main ignition harness wire power came from this as well, and they would all connect to these two terminals right here. And then the rest of it is a horn relay. One of these wires is powered all the time. It's a dual pole relay, and the other one, the normally closed pin, goes to like a door opening warning thing. I don't know if it ever worked. I'm putting the wires back in just because it was there, and I have double pole relays, double throw, sorry. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever work, but I'm putting it in anyway. The other thing that doesn't work that I'm not going to be fixing is the seatbelt light. I still don't know how that stuff works, but I will figure it out. It's expensive to buy the original seatbelts because one of the seats doesn't have the original seatbelt because it actually locked me in the car one time. And so I took it out and replaced it with a Amazon lap belt thing, which doesn't have whatever wiring is supposed to be in there. And so that's just going to be that. Anyway, that's the update for now. This is the go time of trying to, now everything's going to really start going together. Now that I have all the wiring done, it took me a couple Saturdays to get all that stuff done, so now all the wiring's not done. Main factory harnesses are all repinned, recoated, cleaned. So yeah, I kind of forgot to mention that. I took out every connector in this whole harness. I took out every single one unpinned it from every single plug and cleaned every single one of them for all of the wiring harnesses. Every single piece has been cleaned. So they're all like brand new. I didn't want to spend the $1,950 that it costs to replace all of these harnesses all at once. Could have replaced some of them, but none of them were like really worse than others. And actually the one that I did want to replace was $800 of that $1,950, and I was like, man, it's going to take me, I don't know, 4 hours to do this. I can't really justify that much money for 4 hours. So yeah, that's what I got. I don't really like these. They're nice. They do help for a lot of stuff, but I really can't tell how stuff works. This is Dr. Rebuilds. He's a interesting man, but he made these wiring harness diagrams so that I can do stuff, figure out where stuff goes. It helps to, when I was working on the harnesses, to see what color wire was supposed to be somewhere, and I could kind of label some stuff, but doesn't really tell me the rest of the electronics. It's really just the harnesses, so I don't know how stuff is supposed to work. I got to kind of Google around and find out how things were supposed to work. If I'm trying to modify something like that horn relay, I was like, what is this constant power wire that was on the normally closed switch? I had no idea what that was, so that took me a while to find. All right, well, yeah, that's it for now. Till next time.